Hello and welcome to The Flow. I recently read an article about Gen Zers saying that they are ditching their smartphones in order to embrace a way of life that they say is improving their mental health. In the past 2 years, as COVID was making its way across the globe, some young people found themselves slowly eroding their mental health by compulsively watching the world descend into crisis by what's called doom scrolling. That is, endlessly scrolling social media news sites to watch the world crumble beneath their feet. What I am seeing are people thinking that by killing or shunning technology, they can overcome their destructive behavior. And yes, it can and will help. But as I'm sure you can see, we've been given another example of binary either-or thinking. Many ways in which we use our smartphones today can be extremely helpful and convenient. And if these young people could have been introduced to contemplation, turning towards silence, they may come to find that it's not about throwing things away, but seeing deeply, knowing widely, and living graciously. Abraham Joshua Heschel wrote in his famous book, The Sabbath, "The solution of humankind's most vexing problem will not be found in renouncing technical civilization, but in attaining some degree of independence of it." I wash away the weak. I accept the stains of either-or thinking and acknowledge its harm, but at the same time realize that progress is filled with tiny steps. I wash away my notion of fear of worthiness and confidence that God can and will use me to restore kindness, empathy, and peace. I wash to remove the muck of false anger based upon impatient needs and instant gratification. I cleanse the times I was engulfed in the distractions of personal prejudices without taking time to examine its negative trigger. I wash away false notions about myself and others, allowing shallowness of thoughts and prayers and deeds. I bathe in the realization that God sparks wonder, and wonder leads to awe, and that astonishment is a major step towards transformation. I dry my hands feeling God's gentle encouragement, and that is good enough. In order to love God and neighbor, first learn to love a twig. If you find a twig on the ground, it may be alive, dormant, or dead. If the inner bark is moist, flexible, green, and looks fresh, the twig is probably alive. Metaphorically, people express these same tendencies. People can be internally alive, dormant, or dead as well, and the only way to know is to engage another person without malice or forethought. During the week, pay attention to people you meet so that you can discern their inner life force. In order to love God and neighbor, first learn to love a twig. One day I was working in the laundry, and the sister opposite, while washing handkerchiefs, repeatedly splashed me with dirty water. My first impulse was to draw back and wipe my face to show the offender I should be glad if she would behave more quietly. But the next minute I thought how foolish it was to refuse the treasures of God offered me so generously, and I refrained from betraying my annoyance. On the contrary, I made such efforts to welcome the shower of dirty water that at the end of a half an hour, I had taken quite a fancy to this novel kind of aspersion, and I resolved to come as often as I could to the happy spot where such treasures were freely bestowed. Do not fret yourself because of evildoers. Do not be jealous of those who do wrong, for they shall soon wither like grass, and like the green grass fade away. Put your trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and feed on its riches. Do not fret yourself over the one who prospers, the one who succeeds in evil schemes. Refrain from anger. Leave rage alone. Do not fret yourself. It leads only to evil. For evildoers shall be cut off, but those who wait upon the Lord shall possess the land. What is the first thing that caught your attention? Can you imagine the people and the scene? What struck you as important? Do not fret yourself because of evildoers. Do not be jealous of those who do wrong, for they shall soon wither like grass, and like the green grass fade away. Put your trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and feed on its riches. Do not fret yourself over the one who prospers, the one who succeeds in evil schemes. Refrain from anger. Leave rage alone. Do not fret yourself. It leads only to evil. For evildoers shall be cut off, but those who wait upon the Lord shall possess the land. Did you notice any metaphors? How would the metaphor affect your understanding? What is begging to be made known? Both the First and Second Testaments oftentimes asks us to take a look at both sides of the same coin. This week's reading is a prime example. My take on the reading demonstrates the spiritual discipline of detachment. Also at play is an exploration of self-esteem. Being envious of a person who gets away with unethical behavior asks us to take a look at our own lack of self-worth. On the other side of the coin, this psalm exposes the pitfall of giving honor to the one who prospers by exploiting others to get ahead. Detachment helps diffuse anger, rage, and fretting about what we don't have, because when one is spiritually connected to God, our needs are met with less, and that's just fine. When a person is spiritually grounded, knowing the love of God, the fact that people would spend millions of dollars on a short rocket ride to skim the beginnings of space means very little, other than possessing enough wealth to waste on a glorified amusement park ride. On the other side of the coin, standing in an open space, looking up at the stars in all their glory, is much more gratifying, because the knowledge of interconnection with all things is a free gift of creation. Refrain from anger. Leave rage alone. Do not fret yourself. It leads only to evil. For evildoers shall be cut off, but those who wait upon the Lord shall possess the land. Trust in the slow work of God. We are quite naturally impatient in everything to reach the end without delay. We should like to skip the intermediate stages. We are impatient of being on the way to something unknown, something new, and yet it is the law of all progress that it is made by passing through some stages of instability, and that it may take a very long time. And so I think it is with you. Your ideas mature gradually. Let them grow. Let them shape themselves without undue haste. Don't try to force them on. Only God could say what this new spirit gradually forming within you will be. Give our Lord the benefit of believing that this hand is leading you, and accept the anxiety of feeling yourself in suspense and incomplete. May the grace of God live in each breath. May the compassion of Christ animate each step. And may the Spirit of truth rest in each thought. Let us walk in love. Let us go in peace.